If I thought Detroit had a chance in this game, I would be Lions.
12 seconds to go in the game. Niners lead by 4. Hill fires to the right side.
Hey guys, what's up with a new cringy game preview? The Vikings travel to Detroit to take on the shell of a horrible team, the Detroit Lions. So let's break that down. Let's start off with a big picture stat look at their offensive numbers. They're the 25th overall ranked offense, averaging just over 20 points a game. They get 329.4 yards a game, which is 24th, and 226.2 pass yards a game, which is 21st. And they also get 103.1 rush yards a game, which is 24th as well. But that's going to be a little bit misleading. Their best runner, Kerryon Johnson, hasn't played the last couple weeks, and their backup running backs are absolutely horrible. So no run game to really fear of the Lions at all. But let's look at some of the individual performers, and let's start off with Matt Stafford, who is having such a mediocre year. He's throwing for just over 3,300 yards. He's got 19 touchdowns and 11 interceptions. So you look at a quarterback that'll end the year a little over 20 touchdowns, maybe just under 15 interceptions. That's not very good. I mean, he doesn't have a lot of help around him. That's the first and foremost. I mean, he grew up in the league with Calvin Johnson. Then he had the Golden Tate era as well, and now he's just can't really find himself, and the receivers are horrible. And let's look at those receivers. In the receiving game, it's all about second-year wide receiver Kenny Galladay, who's got 64 receptions on the year and already over 1,000 yards and 5 touchdowns. One of the more complete, underrated, probably one of the most underrated receivers in the NFL. 1,000 yards in Detroit. Give the kid all kinds of props. Otherwise, their receiving back, Theoretic, is pretty solid. 57 receptions, 377 yards, though is not very good, and no touchdowns. So a lot of checkdowns to him, a lot of design pass plays to him as well. Otherwise, they're probably on paper number one receiver Marvin Jones, 35 receptions on the year for 508 yards and 5 touchdowns. I do think Marvin is better than Galladay, and I think a lot of teams in the past have put a lot more attention to Marvin Jones and said let the second-year receiver Kenny Galladay beat him. And probably a pretty good choice because the Lions are pretty horrible this year, and that's probably something to do with it. So Marvin Jones does have a history of torching Xavier Rhodes, so hopefully since Galladay's success, maybe the Vikings would just have Rhodes on Galladay and let some of our other receivers take on Marvin Jones, but we have to see about that. Otherwise, their passing game's horrible, and their running game somehow even worse. Their number one running back is Kerryon Johnson. Well, like I said, he probably won't play in this game. He's been dinged up the last couple of weeks. So the majority of the carries will go to Garrett Blount, who's averaging under 3 yards a carry and 5 touchdowns on the year. If you're going to be a big-bodied running back that will pop forward and get your touchdowns, you gotta do more than that. 2.8 yards a carry is probably worse than Matt Asiata. So, oof, not looking good there. Theoretic is probably the more dynamic one, 33 carries for 148. But he is, even though he's a running back, he is more of a little slot receiver. And Zach Zenner, 26 carries for 127, so 4.9 yards a carry is okay, but they miss a lot without Kerryon Johnson, who's got 118 carries, 641 yards, is absolutely leading the way, and he's been hurt for about a handful of games. So a tough one for the Lions. Kerryon Johnson might be the best running back in the division, well, behind Dalvin Cook when the Vikings use him right. So sucked for them, good for us. Let's go to the defensive side of the ball. Much improved than what we've seen before. 23.8 points a game they give up is 18th. 346.1 yards a game is 13th. 230.7 pass yards a game is 11th. And 115.4 rush yards a game is 16th, which doesn't sound very good, but they were dead last when the Vikings played them last time. Talk about the explosive difference by Damon Harrison. They get one defensive tackle, cuts their ranking in half from 32 to 16. So Damon Harrison, you cannot run up the middle against the Lions, and that's where we'll start. Damon Harrison's probably he's one of the most underrated defensive players in the NFL, and might be the most dynamic player on their team. And nobody's going to talk about him. Everybody's going to talk about Jared Davis and Big Play Slay, but it's all about Damian Snacks Harrison. Such a beast. If we had old Coach Flip out there calling plays, and we would do a little 24 ISO right up the gut 15 times a game, the Vikings would probably end the game with 15 yards. So since we have Stefanski, who actually does outside runs and uses the Vikings offense to its fullest, at least from one game, hopefully I think the Vikings will game plan around it. You cannot run up the middle against the Lions. Damon Harrison's too good. Outside runs will kill him, though. Their run defense outside of Damon Harrison is pathetic. So outside runs get to the second level, and the Vikings have a really good day running the football if that's a game plan they go with, and I do think they will. Stefanski is very, very smart. Otherwise, like I said, Jared Davis very solid. He's basically Anthony Barr. 88 tackles on the year, 5 sacks, 1 forced fumble. Very, very solid linebacker. He's very, very fast. Like I said, Anthony Barr-esque. Glover Quinn's very solid. You know it's not good when your safety's second on your team in tackles. He has got 70 and a sack. Very solid, very underrated. Then, of course, Darius Slay. One of the most, like I said, underrated for half their defensive players, but he is very, very good too. Right around that bubble of top 5 cornerback. He is leading the team with 3 interceptions on the year. So, but not a lot of turnovers on the year for the Lions. Only 6 interceptions and 10 forced fumbles on the year. So, not a lot of turnover there. So, when you're playing the Vikings, and your best chance to beat the Vikings is forcing Kirk Cousins to turn over the football, and the Lions aren't very good at it, and they're horrible in offense. Their defense is okay. It's alright. It's okay, right around average. But don't run up the middle, and the Vikings should be just fine. That's what the Vikings specialty is outside runs with our tackles. Not good when we run up the middle. With our horrible guards and Elfline on a little bit of a sophomore slump, but outside runs will do just fine. David Morgan will be the guy in this game. Run behind David Morgan, CJ Ham in the game, kick out those linebackers. Dalvin will have a big game in this one. This is Dalvin's second game against the Lions. His last time he was against the Lions, he tore his ACL and fumbled the ball to give the Lions their win at US Bank Stadium last year, but that won't happen again. I do think Dalvin will have a big day in this one. I think this is one of those games on the road. The Vikings will just keep the game close and let Dalvin run up the clock, let our defense do its thing. The last time he played the Lions this year, 10 sacks. Last game against the Dolphins, 9 sacks. The defense wants to get sacks again against the Lions. They want that league #1 sacking defense, and I think they might get it this week. But run the ball with Dalvin. I think he'll have a big day. Outside runs, run away from Damon Harrison. He's too good. Don't test it. It's not going to work. We run around him. I think Dalvin will get over 130 yards, maybe another touchdown or 2. Not Latavius. Run up the middle for Latavius won't be very good. But then that play action game with Diggs, Thielen, all that will be just deadly once again. Maybe some Kyle Rudolph involvement would be nice too. But more importantly, David Morgan's run blocking as the other tight end will be even better. So, stick to that game plan. Run the ball outside. Get the play action game going when it's needed. And the defense basically will toss up a shutout. Give up 1 touchdown. Hold them to 2 field goals. 13, the Vikings will have 3 touchdowns, 2 field goals. That comes out to 27-13. Vikings roll. 11-point victory in Detroit. Give me your score prediction in the comment section down below. How about you guys hit that subscribe button for once? Maybe the like button. I'm a little bit low. It's the holiday season after all. Otherwise, give me your thoughts and comments, and we'll see you guys in the next Josie Vikings video. See you guys then.